Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm watching The Last of Us, Season 1, Episode 4.
Please hold on to my hand.
Did that get said in this?
No.
Or was it the Hank William? No.
No, that was called, like,
It was.
Alone Forever Miserably or something.
Featuring Linda Ronstadt. I think this was a fine episode. I am more interested to see where we're going with it than with what we necessarily got.
This was like an in-between episode, I think.
I wanted to say for a minute, because I wasn't here last week when you guys talked about episode 3, and I just wanted to say how much I really liked episode 3. And for several reasons. Number one, I really appreciated its placement because we had like an intro with Joel and Ellie, and we had an obligatory, what are they calling them?
Infected, just infected.
Oh, yeah. An obligatory infected. Where the way that Ellie treated it was interesting. She's not afraid enough. I know that she's quote unquote immune.
Well, she's
not immortal.
No, he did say that to her, but I think the thing I find so fascinating about her is I think you're right. She's not scared enough, but it also came up in tonight's episode. She's never known anything else because he was like, you shouldn't have to deal with this at your age. And I'm like, she's never known another reality. So like, in essence, you are correct, but you still remember the before times. So like, it doesn't mean the same thing. So I also think she's been very contained up to now because she's like never been in a car. She's so excited about being in the forest. She like was looking at the stars, really excited. I agree with you, but I also think it makes sense.
Sure, no, it works. I'm not
enough.
really challenging it. I just don't think she's scared enough for what is going on. But I not only did I thoroughly enjoy the episode, but I think it was very interestingly placed to have effectively a bottle episode be your third episode with 2 characters you don't know.
Yeah.
And you know, when we started our first episode, I was kind of tepid on the concept of a zombie show. Where I kind of famously said, if you've seen one, you've seen them all. And that is not the case, because this is doing what I want. Like, this is giving me what I'm actually interested in. And I was relieved when we sort of fast forwarded to modern day and didn't have to watch the in-between. However, having said that, I am interested in the in-between.
Well,
I want to know how we got there. And so I do like that based on the 4 episodes that they are sort of giving us that.
I want to have glimpses back. I don't want to have to watch the whole thing.
Yeah. And because at first I thought, is it really wise for your 3rd episode to be, again, effectively a bottle episode with 2 new characters that are, spoiler alert, dead? And no, I think it was a way to bring people in, because it's like I know for a fact that someone like Rachel is more invested in the show as a whole because of that episode,
100%.
Even though we're not getting those characters back again, presumably.
But it gives you something like a sense of goodwill from the showrunners, where it's like, this is not going to be what you think.
And the storytelling and just sort of that was our biggest gripe and critique about some other, types of prestige genre drama from, the 2000s, the 2010s, is you and me would be like, where is joy in this world? What is the purpose of living?
100%.
And to devote an entire hour to that this early on sort of reaffirms for me that even if we never really get it again, which I believe we will, but it affirms for me that it is worth it, that what we're doing is for something. And it's just that, like, I don't have a name for it. I talked to you privately about it, where I was like, in the last 5 years, but really in this last year, I've become, I guess, crunchy. I've become more crunchy, where I'm just sort of like, I just don't think we as a people understand and appreciate how miraculous life is, like the planet. It's just astounding. And I don't think that we appreciate a goddamn strawberry in the golden hour sunlight. Like, with dandelions, and it's just
Mhm.
this simple, these just simple, beautiful little pleasures, and that was just so that the Franken
Bill.
Bill was so me, because I would totally like section off a portion of town. The only thing I'd do is I'd have like dummies, like scarecrows, displayed everywhere, and I'd give them personalities and stuff. But
Just start a whole like vaudeville show. Like,
but no, and I was really grateful to see to see Tess again. I understand the killing her off, but that f- feels.
I get it. I get it.
And I do also like what it informed in Joel, in particular, when he was talking to Bill, and
I loved that
the way
scene.
he phrased "if my," and then he just sort of
If mine.
that it just wasn't a hurdle. I think it was
It's
was
like
very,
literally how it's the end of the world. You're gonna be have hangups about who's putting what in who? Like, absolutely not. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Also, I wanted to shout out their Melina Mortal Kombat shout out.
Oh,
In the
yeah.
Cumberland Farm.
Yeah,
She was
in the
like
thing,
talked
yeah,
about
for
Melina.
sure. There was one thing I didn't get a chance to mention last week because, as anybody saw, Rachel and I were completely distraught. But I really, really also loved the moment where during the strawberries where Bill said, "I was never afraid until you came here," and I just think that is like kind of the whole thing, because it's like, you sure, maybe you weren't afraid and you would have been fine to die, but also what would have been the point of you even living if you
Well,
didn't have anything to lose?
I also love that it sort of preemptively, it like dealt with a handful of things, because anytime we're watching something like this, we have a joke
Mhm.
between us where I'm like, I would just simply kill myself.
Sure.
And I like that the show just sort of addressed that.
Yeah.
It addressed euthanasia and like second chances, and just
Mhm.
like I really thoroughly appreciated everything about it, and I think it is what makes it sort of a standout.
I agree.
And it was a gift that kept giving, because Ellie found gay porn in the back. And it's just such a reversal of what we're used to.
They're
and-
also like, we didn't, it would have been totally okay if we didn't say anything else about Bill and Frank in this episode, but she found the skin mag in the bag. It was like really, it actually looked kind of charming too, like because it was like pre-2003, so it was almost like delightful. But then also she had the like, she had
that is what 80s and 90s gay porn is known for being. Delightful. Too much ass.
But she also got this, she was like smelling the sleeping bag and she was like, "Oh, it actually smells okay." And he was like, "That's probably Frank's then." It's just nice that like we still kind of kept it going.
I also appreciate that we seem to get relief from the infected, that they're not just constant.
Yeah.
They're not just everywhere. Because he even says something about how like they're more in the quarantine zones.
Mhm.
Like they're not really out in the wilderness. And we did get the teased aforementioned people.
Mhm.
I feel weird about it.
So I was gonna say there was a more natural segue earlier, but we were not done talking about last week's before. Because was one of my hugest issues with The Walking Dead, is how the people are the real villain. Like, I get it. I've been around the block. But the thing so far, I guess we'll see how it continues with Melanie Lynskey's character. It doesn't feel as hateful as every villain on The Walking Dead so far. She seems to have started this with a purpose, and she has potentially gone a little off the deep end.
They're not Fedra, and they're presumably not Fireflies.
Yeah.
And so she is woman Kathleen, who I'm assuming, because they were presenting this information to us. And so I guess maybe people who played the game have information, but Will kind of talked like she was created for the show.
Yeah, so it's like, I think she might be an amalgamation of characters, but like Kathleen does not exist.
It seems that her brother was killed.
Yeah.
And she is searching for the person involved or responsible. It was someone named...
Well, Henry.
And then there's a person named Sam.
Yeah.
And it's a father and son dynamic.
I think they're brothers.
Is it brothers?
Because I think it's different. And that is why also I feel less terrible about it, because I don't think she's looking for Henry for vengeance. I think she's looking for Henry because I think it's like a teenage boy and his younger brother. He didn't look older enough at the end.
It is Melanie Lynskey, which is playing slightly against type. She will get the job done. She killed the doctor that birthed her, but she's still coming at it with her patented Melanie Lynskey sort of.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd say tenderness, but
no, but there is something of tenderness in all of her performances that I think it's what makes her so captivating, is like she's absolutely being a hard ass in this episode. And she's like, I mean, I guess if she's from Kansas City and she like has been going to that doctor for like a long time, but I'm like, what do I care about the doctor who birthed me? What? Like,
he did say, "I am your doctor."
Okay,
so
okay.
I think he pulled the like "I gave birth to you" thing as like a almost like an ownership or like not like I own you, but in like I outrank you in this scenario.
I do love though that after they like found,
she seems to be the leader too.
Yeah, after they brought the bodies back of the men that Joel killed, she was like, would they be helped by a doctor? And when he was like, no, she was like, okay. And then she killed him.
Well, so is the implication that one of the guys that Joel and Ellie killed her son?
No.
Well, he was talking about his mom. He wanted his mom.
Oh, I don't think so.
Which
I think he just also wanted his mom.
Okay.
Yeah. Ellie, I'm not sure she did it on purpose, but she's an excellent shot. She got him right in the spine.
It's the kind of thing where, I mean, obviously we're on Joel and Ellie's side.
Yeah.
But we're just sort of like, you people, you attacked us.
Yeah.
Like, what's your damage?
It's...
I don't know. I don't really have a lot of patience for it.
Well, I can understand it in the way that they're like, you've come into our territory. We don't know what your deal is. But then they also were like, just give us all of your shit. And it's like, no, dude, that's my shit. Like, I worked hard for this shit. I went through a personal bereavement tragedy for this shit. Like,
because also the guy that wanted to negotiate once he was paralyzed, it was like, you didn't have any issue sneaking up on me from behind.
And literally choking me out with my own rifle.
Yeah, I don't know. It was one of those things where I was like, I'm not loving this, but also I am having faith that it's gonna go.
Well, once it ended at 45 minutes and we ended on like a pretty hard cliffhanger, I was like, oh, this was like a getting to the next point episode where it's like, we have been doing that every time because it's like chapters in a video game, like I said at the beginning. But this one felt the most like just a journey, like a peace moving episode so far.
I also liked Kathleen's presumably second in command, the hot guy with the beard.
His name is Perry, and he's played by a man named Jeffrey Pierce.
These people have this fucking city on lockdown.
Kansas City, it's seemingly the entirety of Kansas City.
Like the back of their hands.
I feel like they like rose up against Fedra and just like took over.
But apparently there's like in one of the buildings, like in the like basement, the concrete is like cracked and looks like it's breathing or undulating.
I think it must be, maybe it's the really big one that was in the trailers. There's like a really big one in the trailer.
Why would it be from the ground?
Where does fungus grow?
Yeah, but it's like in a person. I don't know. I don't think that's what it is. You said something about the hive mind.
Well, yeah, if it's like communicating with, maybe it's gonna bring
it's like a Super Mario Brother, like a do 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 do. Pedro Pascal hosted SNL this weekend, and it was very funny. Yeah. There was like a solid 4 skits
that were excellent.
They did a Last of Us spoof, but it was Super Mario, and it was funny.
Also, I'm sticking with the chicken wings skit. It was good. We also got I saw after last week, like a bunch of obviously stuff. My TikTok is 90% Frank and Bill, so I saw like a lot of other The Last of Us stuff. Ellie has gotten her joke book out, which is a good time. I love the journey that Joel is going on. He very clearly doesn't want anything to do with her. He doesn't want to talk, all of this stuff. It's obviously still very raw about his daughter. who I think probably wouldn't have lasted very long anyway. I'm just saying. I feel like she was too pure
very
for this
beautiful,
world. Yeah.
and God doesn't give with both hands.
Exactly. I feel like she wouldn't have, because for a minute I was thinking during the episode, I was like, oh man, like, he's sort of showing Ellie how to use the gun. I wonder if he like wished he could have showed his daughter how to, and I was like, she wouldn't have been able to kill anything.
I started to say at the very beginning with Ellie sort of like cutting the infected in the Cumberland Farms basement, and then with the gun thing. I'm not sure if this is just the standard like plot development show don't tell like character progression, or if this is like foreshadowing something.
I think the first
Okay.
one. Yeah. But my point was that I think it's really fun.
I'm sort of like, why won't he give her a gun? And I mean,
he thinks she can't use it. And then, because especially in this episode when he was like, where'd you learn that? And she was like, Fedra. And he was like, obviously, moving along. But like I said, I like the journey that he's going on emotionally, where like he is gradually opening up to her. The dad jokes kind of got him, and then they had like kind of an actual emotional talk. And I think it's like, like you obviously never get over losing your child, but I do think he like needed this healing for like a long time, and he's very resistant about it because I think he knows it's going to make him weaker.
Okay.
I find it fascinating, and Pedro Pascal is doing such a good job, like reluctant father figure on a journey against evil is my new preferred flavor of him.
We also got a little bit of fleshing out of Tommy.
A little, yeah.
Even though
from
we're still,
Joel's perspective.
Even though we're still looking for him, but he sort of is a bit of a dreamer and loves a cause, but also seemingly gets frustrated and bored.
He didn't say he loves a cause. He said he wants to be a hero, which is more negative. When you go looking for it, that's how you get into stupid situations. So he joined the army at 18 and went to Desert Storm, and it didn't turn out like he wanted it to, and then he joined the Fireflies because he wanted to be a hero again.
Well, they mentioned what's her face,
Marlene
sort of like
coerced him into it, like
tricked him into it. So,
as the first part of what I presume is going to be a 2-part episode, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good.
I think I will feel more positive about it after next week. Like after we finish, like get the conclusion of this story. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm not like 100% sure there's only going to be one more episode, but I'm pretty set on we're not keeping anybody but Joel and Ellie past 2 episodes apiece. So,
which that for my viewing, that will wear on me. That was my issue with Mandalorian.
Oh,
is that it was so routine.
Yeah,
and so there's a part of me that's
but it is kind of monster of the week. Yeah.
So, because we think this season is 9 episodes.
Yeah.
Do we know if there's a grand plan, like a arc or like a 5-season plan or anything?
Oh, I have no idea.
How many video games there are?
2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was more expansive than that.
Nope. 2.
So, all right. Well, like and subscribe. Patreon, YouTube, Venmo, Cashapp, Instagram.
Let us know what you thought.
Twitter.
Yeah. Bye.